Namaskar, welcome to Baat 25C. On Baat 25C, today we are trying to discuss some information, what we could gather and their state of affairs presently of uh, ancient water harvesting and management system like bowdies and wells and other such assets which have been built over hundreds of years, and they still exist. And the people who created them must have gone through a lot of hard work to create them, and to do the due diligence where to create such resources. And let's imagine the area where they knew that the water will flow. So just see the kind of technical and engineering expertise these people had, and they would have pinpointed the area with due diligence and technical finesse, that where these should exist and what is their catchment area and how much water will be there, what will be the capacity of such step wells and others. And these are in maybe thousands across India. But if we talk and limit our discussion to such assets in the state of Rajasthan, there may be very variety of step wells, the bawdis which they are called, across the states, maybe in hundreds and more. How many are existing? We do not have the exact data, because no such analysis or data analysis or investigation has been carried out for some reason. Why these ancient assets are left to decay, get destroyed, and left unused is a big mystery. But it is not a mystery if we look to in the wider perspective and expand our area of interest from these water harvesting and storage management system to other assets, built up assets like forts or temples or buildings, or other such assets built over hundreds of years. They are most of them are in, whosoever those are in the control of the government, are in sorry state of affair. And they are in the sorry state of affair because no particular investigation about their utility, about their structure and their water storage capacity has been carried out. That's what we know from the expert who has been closely working in the area. And I have myself seen many step wells and such structure somewhere in the small towns and cities of Rajasthan are being totally unused, filled with garbage and sand, and used as a landfill by the residents of that particular area. And the leaders and the administrative of that the location have no idea to object to such kind of a misuse. So the point becomes that how it is happening. And definitely the government resources are, they are scarce resources, and they are definitely created into separate segments. So there is no proper budget for these things, there is no manpower, there is no policy, there is no planning, there is no project, since simply because there is basically no policy, or there is exactly a policy that to not to care about the any such resources, be the forts or the temples or the water collecting bodies and other such assets which have been created over hundreds of years. So there has to be something, some link somewhere in the administrative policy making decision, political policy making decision, that how it is happening, that we are these assets are being unused, left unused, and we don't know about that. The young engineers who go in the field and have a look around these things, they don't know anything. The Abhan area, I visited it so many times, and it's dry. Why it should be dry? Because look around the topography around it. All the houses have been built. So the hundreds of years ago, when there was no such house, there was definitely water courses running from that particular catchment area to this body, Avani, and then filling it. So that has not kept that way. Everything has been destroyed. Maybe by building roads, maybe by building, housing settlements, buildings and roads and government and private buildings. So basically, we arrived at a logical conclusion that government doesn't bother. The government we mean the government we have after independence 1947. So for all those 75 years of independence, we have no policy in place to take care, at least take a stock of such assets and find out what is their total, water storage capacity and how best they can put to use to store water, how they can, hundreds and maybe thousands of well can be in a systematic, technical, rational way used as a recharging for the water table with whatever precaution being taken. So because few months ago, I see an ancient well in Jaipur, in the outer of Jaipur where I live, and then I find out, try to find it out from the villagers of that area, very old man, and I asked him that how old is this particular well which is now situated in center of the road. So he said that maybe I've been seeing it for now 80 years and my father has also seen, so maybe 2 3 or more 100 years this well was there. It was a quite wide well and it came into the median of the road, and they built a wall around it, and people are just throwing garbage and all kind of vegetation is there, but all the rain water will not go into this well. Our engineers, brilliant engineers, have or have seen to it, because whosoever is the contractor, he will be working to a plan to given a drawing or a sketch or whatever. So why would he leave that break in the median to let the water flow, and then the related gradient is not there, then water will flow from some other side. So this is just a single example which I have seen and I am trying to quote since I remember it. There may be hundreds and thousands around the state, and those can be used for recharging with all kind of precautions and technical arrangements made. But why these are not being done? They are not being done because there is no policy, there is no manpower, there is no budget, there is no policy. So there is no policy, is having no policy is also a policy. So that means some people somewhere down the line, right in some through our 75 years, or maybe in the beginning of 75 years, maybe in the early 50s or 60s, they decided that these assets are not to be looked after, and it must have been a political decision, whatever. And to not to take a decision is also a decision. We know about that. So there is a deliberate decision making involved in ignorance, misuse and abuse of such wonderful ancient water management and storage resources. Why it is happening, we can only assume, because there has been no such stock taking. There has been no research as for the talking to the people in this area tells us. So the time is, and so many people are working about it, they are worried about it. So something bound to happen, but it will happen its own way, because our bureaucracy is too slow. They don't to change, they don't take fast decisions, because they are conditioned and designed to act in a certain way. Not to take a decision is always a decision, also a decision. So they follow this dictum. So you go for anything new, they will ignore it for as long as possible. So let's not get into the generalities and come time again to this specific subject. So I mean, once it is known, and then the most important thing is there is no technical education available in the syllabus of civil engineering. So the young civil engineers who are going appointed by the government sector, and they take position in various cities and villages and towns, and they come across such assets, they have absolutely no idea that what they are and what is their significance. So that's a circle within a circle. So let's find out, and let's hope that so many people are worried, and they have been talking about these things. We are also trying to bring out this subject and talk about it, and we'll be very shortly talking to some very important scholars and researchers in this area, and we'll get to know more about this. But this is a very sorry state of affairs about every asset, every old and ancient asset which has been created by our forefathers, and they are not being taken care of. That means we don't bother about the heritage. Otherwise, in the lectures, our leaders and they talk about so much big things, about the heritage and our responsibility to preserve and enhance the heritage. But it's not happening. But particularly in this area, it is absolutely very bad state of affairs. So let's hope that when so many people are talking about it, they are collecting information, and maybe putting forward the views to the decision makers. So somewhere along the line, down the line, something might happen which will start the change. There is no overnight change. It is also incremental change. And that is what we call as a rational change in democratic system. So let's hope that if we keep discussing these things, bringing them out for the in the knowledge of the people, and maybe the decision makers and the influencers, somewhere down the line something will happen. So we hope that we like the this discussion about the ancient water harvesting system in India, and particularly in the state of Rajasthan, and their present state of affair is very bad, and it is bad throughout India, maybe with few very noble exceptions. So if you like the program, you please subscribe to the channel and share the link with your friends and relatives, and we will be back soon with new program. Thank you. We will meet again.